The parliamentary opposition, the People's National Party, has stated that they are overly concerned about the amended pandemic legislations that give the Prime Minister of Jamaica extra powers that cannot be tamed by the Parliament to make orders attracting serious sanctions. They also mentioned that these amended laws present a dangerous overreach on democracy. Opposition leader Mark Golding declined to stonewall the government, yielding to an overwhelming parliamentary majority and public sentiment that harsh sanctions was required to rein in persons who were breaching the pandemic laws. Despite these intense deliberations, lawmakers could not find any common ground on the matter of the laws that would give extra powers to the Prime Minister in relation to pandemic breaches. The amended legislation is intended to punish individuals who refuse to comply with measures to stop the spread of the pandemic, which has pushed the health sector to an overwhelming state. The legislation allows for a person to be ticketed for not wearing masks, refusing to social distance 6 feet apart, among other protocols prescribed by the government of Jamaica. Both the opposition and the government of Jamaica have supported the imposition of these serious sanctions for these pandemic breaches. Unfortunately, however, the opposition leader Mark Golding urged the government to suspend the debate on the legislation to correct what he saw as a flaw in the proposed law. According to the opposition leader Mark Golding, under the 2015 parent legislation, the Prime Minister's orders, which deal with a wide range of conduct, did not constitute a serious offense. The Disaster Risk Management Act, which was passed on Tuesday with 2 changes, now makes the orders issued by the Prime Minister serious offenses punishable by a fine up to 1 million or some time behind bars. Mark Golding said that this is a fundamental change in the structure of the law. We do not typically, in our democracy, allow a minister, whether it is the Prime Minister or any minister, to create these serious offenses without coming to Parliament to have them approved. That is the issue that the opposition leader has with these new amendments. He says that while he is comfortable with proceeding by giving the executive the power to create these serious offenses without parliamentary approval, it is an uncomfortable position. In response to his concern, Prime Minister Andrew Holness, who participated in the discussion at the committee stage of the process to pass the legislation, said that he would have taken a similar position to Mark Golding, were it the case that the law did not prescribe what the Prime Minister can do and when this kind of exceptional powers can be utilized. It can only be used in the declaration of a disaster. Andrew Holness said that the orders would be made in the context of the legislation. The Prime Minister also emphasized that any measure related to the main legislation which is materialized in any order is a serious offense, except that they have said it is not an offense that would be added to your record. He emphasized that the law was meant to give the government the ability to respond quickly to an emergency. Mark Golding said that he would not call for a divide on the legislation, noting that the country was currently facing a crisis. I don't want to appear to be thwarting the efforts to solve the crisis, to have major misgivings with the way it is being done, but I am not going to stand in your way. The Prime Minister acknowledged that the legislation could be used for harm. He says that I understand that it could give whoever is the leader of the country at the time to potentially find some ways to be oppressive, but I am saying that the main legislation itself would give some limits as to what would be done or could be done. Following the long debate, Holness said that he was not proposing the change to the legislation. And as some Jamaicans continue to breach the Disaster Risk Management Act without any remorse, Justice Minister Delroy Chuck sounded a serious warning on Tuesday that persons who continue to defy the rules to wear masks in public spaces could find themselves in breach, especially if they did not have proper identification. Let the message go to those who are defiant, those who are undisciplined, that if they have the audacity to defy the protocols, to ensure that they have their IDs on them. Because if they do not have their identification on them, it will definitely be a matter between them and the police, and they will be apprehended. Some of the offenses that will attract serious penalties include failure to wear masks in public places, failure to maintain 6 feet social distancing rule, or breach of protocols governing public transportation, $5,000. Failure to stay inside of a place of residence during a curfew, $10,000. Gyms operating outside the time specified or small outdoor events held in breach of the Disaster Risk Management Act or any other orders from the government in relation to the pandemic, $20,000. For Jamaicans who return home from overseas and fail to stay in quarantine, it will be $25,000. If a tourist or someone else who does not live in Jamaica refuses to stay inside the resilient corridor as is required, it will be $30,000. For someone with the pandemic who refuses to stay in quarantine, it will be a fine of $50,000. Any employer who does not comply with the specified workplace requirements, it's $50,000. Conducting funerals, burials, weddings, or any other worship service in contravention of the order in force will be $100,000 fine. Bars operating outside of a specified time does not have a spirit license. Operating a hotel or resort cottage not licensed under the TPD code will attract $500,000. Any hotel or resort that breaches the pandemic protocols will amass a fine of $500,000 as well. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Let me know what you think about these new amendments that have been made to the Disaster Risk Management Act by the government. And of course, do you agree with the statements coming from the parliamentary opposition in the form of statements made by Mark Golding, who is the leader of the People's National Party? Thanks for watching. Remember to be safe, vigilant, and alert. Goodbye.